What's up, everybody? It's Isaac with Diamonds and Wood Customs, coming at y'all again with another video. Today I'm gonna let y'all ride with me and see how I build this center console. It's gonna be for a 1970 Chevy C10. Right here, what I'm displaying is pretty much everything you'll need to start designing the console, start cutting it, building it, and assembling it. First thing you'll need is some type of template. I usually keep a template from some of the models that I make. That's why I have this one ready, but all my templates once started out from a piece of cardboard. So you'll just get your cardboard and start cutting till it fits up against the dash, and then you'll transfer it over to wood and you'll have your template. So you'll need a template. You'll need a jigsaw for sure to cut everything out and cut your designs and stuff like that. So you'll need a jigsaw. You'll need a staple gun to assemble it and staple it together with some wood glue also, just to make it extra sturdy. You'll need some double-sided tape whenever you start routering and making everything the same size as the template. You'll need a flush trim bit to do that. So you'll need a router and a flush trim bit, and basically what this does is it trims everything to size. Whenever I get there, I'll explain a little bit more about that. You need your pencil and tape measure to start doing designs and stuff like that. You'll need a straight edge to make sure your lines are straight. We'll be finding the center of a lot of pieces, so we need something to draw a line across. These right here are just rough cuts of wood that I already cut out, which is gonna be the sides and the front faces of this. So if you do your design and then you start seeing how many pieces you'll need, you'll just roughly cut that amount out, and your side pieces. So I got 4 of those, and then I have all my faces right here that I'm gonna be using. So first thing I'm gonna do is get my main pieces. This is my template right here. This one is for 67 through 72. They're pretty much all the same on the dashes. It is a low hump, and those model trucks, they have a higher hump for the transmission and some of those trucks. So you have to take that into consideration whenever you're building it, and how high it might come up in here, and for your your speakers not to hit and stuff like that. So whenever you're doing your template, just be sure that you get measurements of everything, and as you build, you need to put it inside the vehicle and take it out so you can make sure everything fits in there perfectly. You don't want to build something and put all your time and effort into it, and it even comes out really nice and it doesn't fit. So get your template, and once you have it cut out, if you did it on cardboard and you transferred it over to wood, you'll have it all cut out straight like this. And then once it's all cut out, you'll go ahead and put it on there. I leave mine just a little bit hanging over the edges. That way, whenever I flush trim it, it still has a little bit to cut. You can see right here, I still have a little bit left on the edge. So what I'll do is I'll put it as close to the edge as possible, with leaving a little bit left over for me to trim off. And go ahead and start tracing. So that's all we're doing. There's one right there. Put that one to the side. We're gonna do that 3 more times. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and rough cut these with the jigsaw, and you'll leave just a little 1/8 inch like you have right here on the edges that I left and on the bottom. So you'll cut on the outside of your line right here, not right on the line. You'll cut on the outside of the line, leaving a little bit off for the router to trim. And you'll do that. It's just a little rough. So I went ahead and trimmed them down with the jigsaw and gave it a rough cut. If you can see, right here is the line from the actual template, and I cut just on the outside of it, and that leaves you a little bit to trim off, like I said. So what we'll do now is, on all of these pieces, we'll put some of the double-sided tape around the edge, so when we put the master template on there, it sticks to it, and it lets us transfer the shape from this one over to this one. Now right here, you'll want to line up to the line that you drew with this as close as possible, making sure that you leave a border around to trim. You don't want it lined up right on the very end with the rough cut wood. Go ahead and push it down so it can sit pretty good. And whenever you're done, you should end up with the trim around the whole template, just like this. Make sure you have a border around for it to trim down to. So this is ready to flush trim. Now, this is where we'll be getting into the router step with this router bit, this flush trim bit. So what this is a flush trim bit. Wherever this bearing, whatever this bearing rides on, is gonna trim the exact same size as this. So what we're essentially gonna be doing is letting this bearing ride on the master template, and it's gonna cut down all of this down here to make it even with this. It's just gonna ride on it and transfer it all over. All right, so now that we flush trimmed everything, you can see we ended up with the same exact piece as our template. All right, everybody, so we got all 4 of the side panels flush trimmed to the template, and when you're done, this is what you end up with. You have your main template, and you transferred all 4 of them. So all of them now should be the same size. They should all be the same all the way around, nice and evenly. What you're gonna end up with is 4 pieces like this. Now you'll have your center pieces where your radio, your cup holders, your switch panels, all of that stuff is gonna go right here in the middle. So you'll need 2 for each side. Well, now our next step is to go ahead and measure the faces that I'm gonna need right here, cut them to width, and start stapling them together. Cutting out any designs we need on the faces. We're gonna be installing a Pioneer 7-inch stereo right here, so we'll need to cut the hole out for that. And then we're gonna have 2 cup holders that go right here, so we'll need to cut the holes out for that. And once we cut those out, then we'll just go ahead and start assembling. So we got the basic side panels already ready. Let's move on to the middle faces. With the other small pieces that you cut out for the face, this is what we're gonna be using these pieces for. So for this one, the radio face, we'll say that it's about 7 5/8. Okay, so I got this one cut out already. So this is basically gonna just come right here on the front where the cup holders are gonna go. Let's just say 6 1/4. Okay, so now we have that one. It's gonna be the front. So we're at about 7 7/8. So now we need to find the center line of all three of these pieces to line them up. Take your straight edge, make a line. We'll line that up. There you have your centerpiece. So now the square we're gonna cut out for the radio will be measured off of this for the height and for the width. Now we have the centers cut for this. I want to make an outer bezel for the radio to sit in, just so it's not flat right here. It gives a little bit of transition in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut another bezel, which the radio is gonna sit in, kind of something like this, but it'll be a little bit shorter. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock it down, and I'll be right back. So this one's basically gonna sit in here like this. And the radio is gonna sit inside this one. We'll mold it up and router and bevel this edge right here so it gives a nice little transition. And this will be the front radio face right here. Do the same on this side. Okay, so we have radio ready. Got the cup holders ready. Let me go ahead and make the cutout for the radio to sit in. All right, so we need to cut out the hole for the radio to sit inside the bezel right here. When you're doing this, you're gonna be wrapping the console in vinyl, and the vinyl has a thickness to it, so you have to compensate for that thickness when you're making the hole cutout for this, because if you cut it just as tight as this is, when you set the radio in there, it's not gonna go in. It's gonna be really tight. You're gonna rip up the vinyl. So you wanna compensate for the thickness of the vinyl. I'll get this cut out on the jigsaw. Cut it as even as possible. Keep your hand straight. Make sure everything comes out neat. And then the radio will slide right in. We'll bevel the edge with a chamfer. Glue it on to the face. And go from there. All right, so I cut out the radio face where the radio is gonna sit in. There's the front bezel. Cut it out on the back so that way it has enough room for the radio to slide in. Now what I wanna do right here is I wanna give this a little chamfer around the edge so we can bring it closer to this wood. So whenever we do the body filler on there, it gives a nice little clean transition. There we go. See how close it got to the edge? Now whenever we do the body filler and shape it up, it'll transition a lot better. I got my cup holder holes cut out. I also drilled one for my extra accessories. This is gonna be the USB charging port with the voltmeter, and this is gonna be the latch button to turn the LEDs on and off. Go ahead and put a liberal amount